Throw your hands up in the air and say enough's enough. Do you want to learn to code and make some awesome stuff? Learn that anyone can when you're coding with Dan on. Whether you're a pro or this is all brand new, learn the overarching concepts and some fun stuff too. And with Dan as your guide, come along for the ride on. Make a crazy pixel mirror to reflect your face. You can make it jump to light speed into outer space. You can generate a maze that can go on for days. You can make your own terrain and some purple rain. You can make a retro game to see how it's done, and then tweak a piece to make it yours for everyone. Make some fractally trees or Twitter bots if you please. And when the seeds are all sown, you can make them your own on. Ride the colors of code, you can follow the road to.
Hello, I'm here. Good morning. Welcome, live stream watchers. I hope that you can hear me okay. I've got an eye on the chat over here. I had a little bit, I'm about an hour later than I had hoped to be. My voice is a little bit scratchy. I have a little bit of a cold, but I'm full of energy and excited to be here. I know there's been a lot of new people subscribing to the channel in the last week, and I see the chat is kind of going crazy. And so welcome. I don't know what happened, but YouTube, I guess, changed their video suggestion algorithm. And for whatever reason, it picked up two of my videos, the snake game coding challenge and the purple rain coding challenge, which are really just like two videos in a sea of many. But for whatever reason, those were being suggested all across the board. And I'm getting, just in the last week, it's kind of died down today, but there was a few days there where I was getting 10 to 15 times the amount of traffic that I usually get, which is thrilling and wonderful, and so many nice comments. A lot of complaints, but that goes with the territory of being on YouTube. People complain. They have legitimate complaints, some not so legitimate complaints, interesting complaints, and criticisms, and lots of actually constructive feedback, which was incredibly useful and interesting to read. So I want to get started doing a new coding challenge in a moment, but since there are so many new, happy birthday, Feng Li, since there are so many new people joining and watching, I thought I would just talk a little bit about kind of how this works in terms of the live channel. Now I have some tea. Everybody always asks, hey, what are you on? And I always say, chamomile tea. I'm just like this, I guess, at least when I turn on the camera and start live streaming. Wow, there are so many people in the chat. It's very hard to keep up with, but I'm keeping an eye. So one thing, I'm a little bit later. I'm about an hour later than I had intended today, mostly because there's been a show. I'm live from the School for Poetic Computation in New York City, and they had a wonderful showcase over the weekend, and lots of stuff was hectic and things got moved around, so I had to set up a lot of things again. So I have a little bit less time than I had hoped for, but I hope that I'll still be able to do some interesting stuff with you guys. I'm hoping that next week, before the holidays come, I have a little bit of extra time to do some more live streams, especially with so many new viewers. It's kind of, I want to try to generate more content if I can. So let me talk a little bit of, Slither is a great suggestion, I'm just peeking at the chat, of how this works. So my name is Dan Schiffman. I come on live, hopefully once per week. I've been pretty regular, about once per week. I missed maybe 2 weeks in the last 3 months, but otherwise I've been once per week, somewhere between 1 and 3 hours. And I do tutorials, challenges about code, and typically I work in either JavaScript or in Java. And in Java, I typically use a framework. So in JavaScript, I use something called P5JS, and for Java, I use something called processing, every once in a while I dabble in something else like some Node.js. I might introduce a few like Python tools for some machine learning at some point in the new year. And some of my videos follow a kind of sequence, a tutorial sequence, and some of them are just kind of like one-off videos. And so this fall I've been doing a lot of videos around text analysis. and text generation for a course that I teach at a school called ITP, which is at Tisch School of the Arts at New York University. And so this is the URL for the website for that course, and I've been kind of doing these once per week, but I thought since so many people joined in the last week and there seems to be a lot of interest and energy around kind of quick coding challenges to make simple 2D games, that I want to kind of put the course stuff aside. I need to just fix this camera. I can see that the green screen camera is a little bit off. I want to put aside the course stuff for today and just do some coding challenges. And the first one I'm going to start with is Asteroids. So I'm going to get to that in a second. Yes, boy, people have great suggestions. And there are 1,000 people watching. You've got to be kidding me. I can't see. That is totally insane. Wow. Oh, and guess what? I have a new song. But let me give you just a couple more logistical things. So if you like what you see, I highly encourage you to subscribe. You can go to codingrainbow.com. Unfortunately, I've had to change the name of this channel. Coming soon, I'm going to have a new song and a new name. But for now, you can go to this website still. You can subscribe. I appreciate it if you subscribe. It really, I appreciate if you watch the videos, if you send me feedback. You can also become a patron. And I have a Slack channel where I answer questions and talk about the different coding challenges. And then I also want to mention a lot of people this is one of my favorite comments. I've had this comment maybe 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 times in the last week. I don't know why. This is the comment. Some variation on this. I don't know why YouTube suggested this video. I know nothing about coding. I didn't even think I was interested in coding, but I'm fascinated and I love watching. So that to me is so thrilling. And I don't know if any of you who are tuning in sort of got a live notification and aren't programmers or have never done any coding before. But if you're interested, it's harder to find, but I do have 2 particular playlists that are geared exclusively to beginners with no experience whatsoever. And this is one of them here, 1 to 6, Foundations of Programming in JavaScript. You don't need to know you don't have to have any background in programming to start with this tutorial. And then I have another one, which is called Learning Processing. And I guess if I go to my channel really quickly, it might be, oops, this is wrong, user/Schiffman. If I go here, and I go down, coding challenges, this one. So this one will give you a fresh introduction to processing, which is a platform, a programming environment built on top of Java. And would love to say, I get a lot of questions about what's processing, what's P5. I'd love to get to some of that. We'll see if I can do that today. All right, so welcome again. One thing I would like to know, I'm sorry for my voice, it's a little bit, by the way, I'm going to try to take it easy today a little bit because some of you might remember that 2 months ago I had a little bit of a cold and I just overdid it with recording videos and teaching. I lost my voice for like a week and a half. So I'm hoping that does not happen today. One thing I'm wondering about is if the focus is okay. If you guys can see me, the camera's a little out of whack and I'm the only person here, so I have to like go and focus the camera, then walk back over here, then refocus it. So can you guys let me know if you can see me okay, if I'm standing over here typing and back? I'm kind of looking in the chat. Let me answer this question that Rapamaro asked, which is, what is the difference between P5.js and processing? So I'll briefly mention that both of these open source projects are maintained and developed by something called the Processing Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization. Processing has been around since 2001. So it has a long history, and it's built on top of Java. So you can download it, run it. I'm going to do a challenge with it in a little bit, so you'll see it later. And everything you're doing in processing is actually Java. So even though there's a lot of helper functions and some things that happen to let you avoid some of the sort of ugliness of Java, so to speak, if you learn processing, any programming processing, you are learning Java. You are writing code in Java. So that's processing. P5.js is a relatively new project, just 2 or 3 years old, and it is a framework for writing that's built in JavaScript. So it's a JavaScript library. So, and the things that you make in P5.js can run in the browser Both of these environments have a downloadable editor that you can launch and use, but I don't actually, in my videos, I'm not using the P5.js editor. For web programming, there are so many ways. You can just use any text editor, you can use a code pen online. There's so many ways you can kind of do browser-based development. With Java-based development, you really need like a development environment. Most people would use something like Eclipse or maybe NetBeans or something like that. But processing is a really nice, simple one that just like kind of works. It has a nice play button. You can make stuff run full screen. You can do graphics and animation, work with hardware, lots of stuff. And if you go back, not to plug my stuff, and watch the tutorial videos, you'll get to know it a little bit better. Okay, so I have a new song to premiere. Now, I don't have a new song to premiere, but one of the patrons of this YouTube channel, let me see if SoundCloud, Lost GH Bear, with a collaborator, I have no idea how to pronounce this, Podlplov, created a song called Kittens. I think I had a video where I was demonstrating something about like loading images and displaying them, and I kept saying kittens over and over again. I always love it when people do remixes of some of the audio so I can play them and use them for dancing and background while I'm like setting up. So I'm gonna premiere on this live stream this new song while I get set up to do an Asteroids coding challenge. So I'm gonna play the music, and I'm just gonna be here kind of like fiddling away at the keyboard and trying to get set up. I am looking at the live chat on YouTube. I'm also, for patrons, I'm looking at the Slack live chat as well. If any of you are there, please say hi in there. And I'm trying to kind of look at both of these at the same time. So this song will come later, don't worry. Okay, here we go.
Unicorns and rainbows and cupcakes. What else is there? Yes, kittens. Thank you very much. Kittens and rainbows and cupcakes. Notice that. Look what I get. I'm really losing my mind. Okay, let's do it. Kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens. 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 Kittens and kittens and kittens. Kittens and 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 kittens and kittens and kittens.
Can you guys hear me at the same time as the music up? A lot of people really are complaining in the chat about this song.
Nice
Sorry.
Feeling of
Gets me warmed up
relaxation.
here.
Everything's going to be okay today. Dream is not broken. It has not frozen. This is a wonderful thing. Okay, we're going to do it. I'm really getting to something. I need my sound effect. Unicorns and rainbows and cupcakes. What else is there? Unicorns and rainbows and cupcakes. That was invalid syntax. I forgot. There was one other thing here that I think is important that I will use continuously over and over again in all sorts of text generation analysis things that I will use continuously over and over again. First thing I need to do is, yes, kittens. Kittens, kittens. I'm really losing my mind. Okay, we're gonna do it. Kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens. 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 Kittens and kittens and kittens and Das Vidania.
Okay, perfect timing. I hope you guys enjoyed that song by Lost GH Bear and Podlplov. And I think I'm ready now to do an Asteroids coding challenge. I have a local server running. I have Ooh, why are things kind of frozen here? Let me close some of these windows. There we go. I have a browser open to a sketch. I want to make sure I have a console viewable. And then I want to make sure my code is viewable. And I think I'm ready to go. Pong, ping pong, ping pong. So, yeah, that song for any of you who are interested, please, that song for any of you who are interested, I'm over here for a second. By the way, can you guys see this? Okay, I'm going to use the whiteboard a little bit for when I have to explain some things in Asteroids. Oh, I don't know, where did I put that marker? I need my whiteboard marker. Hold on, everybody. We're so close to getting started with this Asteroids challenge. Let's see. I need to put on another song for you guys. Where's my whiteboard marker? Ah! This dot. All right. We'll just use this blue one, I guess. I had a black one that was like a nice fresh one. Oh, very bright. Okay, I'm getting a message. Voice a little louder and the music a little quieter. Okay, hold on, everybody. This dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. Okay. Okay, I'm getting some messages about everything. So, a couple things. My voice is a little bit quiet, and the music is maybe a little bit loud. So, one thing I can do let me just adjust the sound for a second really quickly. And I think this will make that a little quieter. As always, I always forget the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm going to do this dot, this dot. I think now let me make my voice a little bit louder. This dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. Okay. This dot, this dot, this dot. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better. The voice is fine. Okay, now I was told that the whiteboard is a little bit too crazy bright. Let me see if I can fix that a little bit. Because the settings on this camera changed. And I can fix that. Maybe that's better. So hopefully that's a little bit better and you can read that okay. All right, I know we can. And there's all these new people watching that are like, what is this channel? You take like a half an hour to do everything. And it's true. This is one of the complaints I get in the comments. Don't watch a lot of people don't watch the live streams. Waste way too much time, which is absolutely true. And I admit that. Sorry. By the way, one of the most amusing comments I got in the sea of traffic last week is, there's a conspiracy theory out there on the internet that I have all the code I'm going to write pre-written over here because I keep looking over here and then typing. The reason I keep looking over here is because that's where my monitor is. That's where the YouTube chat is. If the chat's a little out of control, I don't know if there's anybody, a moderator in there, feel free to, I don't know, do what you please. Move a bit to the left because you're blocking the screen. I don't know what to do about that. Okay, so here we go. All right, I am going to now start. I need to cycle the cameras. I'm a little bit afraid to do this because everything is a little bit tenuous here, but I'm going to do that. And I'm going to start. All right, I'm going to start doing asteroids. So, okay, one thing I want to mention. So I'm actually doing a collaboration with Siraj. How do you spell this? Siraj. Yeah, here we go. Sirajology. Sirajology.
Yeah. It's been a ride.
This is Siraj. It's music video. So what we're going to do here, we're going to make this a collaboration. I'm going to program Asteroids as a HTML5 JavaScript game. And when that's done, I'm going to send this game to Siraj, who does videos on YouTube about machine learning. And he is going to train a bot to play the game and figure out how to get a really good score. Now, the truth of the matter is, the version of the game that I'll build in the challenge probably won't have all the scoring stuff. I'm just going to do the core functionality. So I'll work on it some more afterwards. And the other thing I'm going to do, which is a little bit different, so you know what some of you might not realize if you're new here, because apparently there's like 1,500 people watching, is that what I do is I record these long live sessions, and then Mathieu Blanchette, who's watching, helps to edit them down into shorter or coding challenge or tutorial videos that get uploaded separately. So I'm going to do something a little bit weird. I'm going to time travel a little bit, and I'm going to record the challenge, and then after I'm done, I'm going to make a pretend intro to it, because I want to do that. It's a little experiment today. I want to do the intro after to see if I can because I want to talk about Siraj and all that sort of stuff. Also to make sure that it went okay, and then if the game is sort of problematic, then I might do a different game with Siraj later or something like that. So I'm going to get started right away now. Okay, here we go. I am over here. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is hit refresh. I've never actually felt nervous doing these. I feel nervous right now because there's so many people watching. And so, Asteroids. A lot of people. So sometimes, one of the big questions I get is, oh, do you practice these in advance, or do you think them through? Do you plan them? And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. For example, I am planning to do a coding challenge about mapping with doing taking a spreadsheet of cities and lat long values and plotting those. And I did do some work to figure that out and prepare it. So when I do the coding challenge, I have that in my head already. The thing that I'm going to do right now, Asteroids, I'm doing this pretty much cold. I mean, I have definitely programmed aspects of this and physics things and moving things around, but the actual game Asteroids is in my head. I have not programmed it before. So let's get started. I want to image search Asteroids to have this Asteroids game. There we go. So, and let's see if I can, this looks good. I want to have a nice image here. Although I guess I'm going to record the intro after. So, okay, so here we go. I am now, thanks for all the nice, there's a white half circle in your webcam. I don't know what that means. Okay. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to figure out how to do this because I'm going to do an intro after, but I'm just going to kind of do a quick intro as well right now. Half circle in the screen bottom. Oh yeah. Oh shoot. That happened again. So I have a light there to help with the shadowing problem. I think I fixed that. Thank you for noticing that. Okay, here we go. Poop burger. That's one of the comments in the chat. Okay, here we go. I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. I'm nervous, I'm ready. I'm going to do this. Okay. All right, here we are. I'm going to start programming Asteroids from scratch. Not entirely from scratch, because I'm going to use a framework called P5JS that has a lot of hooks in it for drawing and animation. But the actual game mechanics I'm going to just sort of figure out on the fly. I haven't done this before, and we'll see what happens. If you want to know how long this takes, just look at how long this video is, and then you'll know. But I don't know, because I can't time travel into the future, although it would be, if someone could figure that out for me, it would be very helpful for a lot of things I need. Okay, let's go. This is the game Asteroids, and here we go. So the first thing that I need to do is I think I should program the spaceship, the thing that's in the center of the screen that you can kind of turn and then push around. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to create a ship object, and the framework that I'm using is called P5JS, which has a lot of things that will allow me to draw the triangle pretty easily, but it also has a vector object built into it. So something that I want this ship to have is a position. And I'm going to have that position start at the center of the screen, which is width divided by 2 and height divided by 2. And then I'm going to write a function called render, where I draw the ship as a triangle. So how do I draw a triangle? There's a function in P5 called triangle, and all I need are all I need are 3 xy coordinates. So what I could do is draw a triangle like this. If I think of this as like 0, 0, then this could be like 5, 5. This could be like -5, 5, and this could be like -5, 0. So that would give me 3 coordinates of the triangle, but maybe these shouldn't be 5. That should be a variable that has to do with the size of it. So I'm going to come back over here, and I am going to now add this dot r equals 10. And I'm going to say a triangle is 3 points. What am I looking over there? Negative this dot r, negative this dot r, this dot r. A lot of this dots. This dot r, this dot r. And then 0, negative this dot r. So what I want now is to create a variable. This is just to get the ship, called ship. And then I'm going to say ship equals new ship. This calls this constructor function and creates an object that has a position, an r value, and a function called render. So I can now say ship.render, and I can run this code, and we'll see what we've got. Look, there's a nice little triangle, but it's up there in the top left corner because I didn't actually use the position. So something I can do in P5 is I can say translate. The translate function translates the coordinate system by an x and a y value. Vectors have an x and a y value. So I can say translate by x and a y, which essentially will position the ship now where it actually is. So I now have that triangle there. I could make it a little bit bigger. I could also say no fill and stroke 255. This says don't fill the interior of the triangle and give the stroke a white stroke. And now I have a nice little triangle right there in the center. Excellent. So now what do I need to do? I need to be able to figure out a way that when I press the right arrow key and the left arrow key, the triangle rotates. So let's figure that out. The ship rotates. So one thing I should probably add here is a variable called, I could call it angle, but I'm going to call it heading. So I'm going to say its heading is 0. And before I draw the triangle, after I translate, I'm always going to rotate by this dot heading. So we can see now, that's that. Now what if I change the heading to 90 degrees? Will it be pointed to the right? That's not exactly right. It's not pointed to the right because P5 and most computer graphics environments think in terms of radians, which is a different unit of measurement than degrees. So to the right, 90 degrees is pi divided by 2 radians. So I can actually say pi divided by 2. And you can see now, there it is, it's pointing to the right. So that's the heading. Now what I want, the heading is something arbitrary. I can start it at 0 for right now. So what I want to do is I need to be able to rotate it. So I need another function. And I'll call it this dot turn. Now, one thing about these functions, JavaScript's a funny place with object-oriented programming, and objects have this thing called a prototype. So this isn't the best way, and I've gotten comments about this, to just put these functions in the constructor function itself. Some people like to put them, but just for sort of ease of use and readability right now, I'm just putting the functions in here. This dot turn equals function. So I can say, maybe this needs an angle value that it turns by, and I say heading plus equals angle. So anytime I call this function this dot turn, anytime I call this function ship dot turn, it'll turn the ship. So for example, if in the draw loop, P5 has a draw loop that animates over and over again. If I were just to say ship dot turn 0.1, we can see, okay, heading is not defined. This dot. Always forget this dot. This dot. So I think, where did I forget that? This dot heading plus equals angle. There we go. Now I have my ship spinning. Yes, okay, but I don't want it to just spin randomly. I want to spin if I am pressing the right arrow key. So now I need to go back to my code, and I need to add a key pressed function. Now P5 allows you to have these kind of global event handlers. One of them is function key press. So anytime I press a key, this function will happen. And what I want to do here is just check if the key code is right arrow ship dot turn by 0.1, else if the key code is left arrow ship dot turn negative 0.1. Okay, that's pretty good, right? So now I'm going to turn off this turning that's happening in draw. I'm going to hit refresh. And now when I press the right key, it turns. When I press the left key, it turns. This is kind of terrible. I can't hold down the key to turn it. I have to press it one at a time. So we're going to have to change how this works. And actually, there's a sort of a funny way I could do this. I'm going to make a global variable. I could probably package this in the object a bit better. And actually, I'm going to. I'm going to make a variable in the object called this.rotation and set it equal to 0. And this.turn actually just always turns it by that rotation amount. And then I'm going to say this.setRotation is a function that receives an angle, and then this.rotation equals that angle. So now what I want to do is when I press the key, I want to set the rotation. When I release the key, I want to unset it. Because I want to be able to I want to handle the key pressed and released differently. So now I can say here, set rotation, 0.1, set rotation, negative 0.1, and if I add an event for key released, now I can say ship.setRotation 0. So now this should, it didn't work. So what did I miss? I've got a bug here. It was a nice idea, right? Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to call ship.turn. So I always have to turn it. I might be turning it by 0 sometimes, but the function turn is always calling. Is always happening in the draw loop. Sketch 11 shiz, which is ship. OK, so now, there we go. So now as I hold the key down, it turns. OK, there we go. It's turning as I hold it down. Now, the next thing I need to do is I need to be able to move it. So when I press the up arrow, I want to apply a force in the direction that it's pointing. Let's think about how I'm going to do this. So in other words, here's my ship. Let's say it's pointing in this particular direction. So I have this particular angle as this variable heading. So what I need to do is I want it to have a velocity that's moving in that direction. So I need to add two concepts to the ship. I need to add the concept of a velocity, which changes its position, but I also need to add this concept of an acceleration. The acceleration is the thing that changes the velocity. So when I press up, which is like a boost, thrust or boost onto the ship, it's like a force that pushes it and it starts to move. So let's see how we can add that. Both of those things will also be vectors. So if I go back to the code, boy, Asteroids is much more complicated than I imagined. Still only on the ship. This dot velocity equals create vector 0, 0. I want to add a function called update, which is always updates whatever this object is doing. And I'm going to say this dot position add this dot velocity. So if I were to run this, you can see, oh wait, first of all, I always make this, always forget this. I've got to actually call now ship.update. OK, now if I hit refresh, it's not doing anything. But what if I give it a velocity? Create vector 1, 0. So its velocity is a vector pointing to the right, 1, 0. Now if I hit refresh, there it is, it's moving. Now it's not pointing in the direction that it's moving. So many problems here. But we're going to fix all of those things. The idea here is that the velocity just starts at 0, but instead of assigning it a value, I'm going to push it. So I need some sort of function that's like this dot boost. And when I boost it, what do? I add something to the velocity. So I need a vector that points in the direction that it's pointing. And I know the direction based on an angle. So I need to get a vector, an x and a y, based on that angle. Fortunately for us, P5 as a framework has a function to create a vector from an angle. I could do it manually using sine and cosine and trigonometry, and I have other videos that show that. But if I just come over here, I can say var force equals p5.vector.fromAngle heading. So this will give me a vector that points in the direction of that heading. And I can now say this dot velocity dot add force. So now I need to add else if key code equals up arrow. That'll be my key for boosting it. Ship.boost. So let's see how this goes. Now if I press the up key, oh, heading is not defined. I forgot that this, I should have to put a quarter in a jar every time I forget this in working in an object in JavaScript, and then I would be wealthy, except for the fact that those would be my own quarters, so it wouldn't really work, but whatever. I just said wealthy in this very fancy way, I don't know. Anyway, so now if I hit the up arrow, heading is not defined, sketch.js line 41. Did I not hit save? I must not have hit save. There we go. Now you notice it's working, but it's not pointing in the right direction. So this is a silly problem because I drew a triangle kind of pointing up, but a rotation of 0 is pointing to the right. So I kind of just need to adjust everything. I probably could have drawn the rectangle oriented to the right, but I can just fix this in my code with one little line that just says rotate heading plus pi divided by 2. That should rotate it always offset by 90 degrees. And if I do this, you can see I am now pushing it around like asteroids. Now you can't see what keys I'm pressing, but left, 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 right, right, up, up, left, down, down. Now one thing I kind of want to do, just for sort of ease, is I don't know if this is really in Asteroids, but I want to add a little dampening. I want the, pause for a second. I am getting, so this is going to get, are there 2.4 thousand, are there 2,000 people watching this right now? That's completely insane. So this is going to be an edit point when the challenge gets released, because I'm getting a message that the whiteboard is hard to read. Yeah, the focus looks off to me. Let me see what I can do about this. I'm going to zoom in on it. This is how I work. I think it's also because I'm not using a black marker, which would be better. Hopefully that helps a little bit. All right, it's all good. Okay, so hopefully that helps a little bit. If I'm looking in this the patron Slack channel, which is a little easier to follow than the live stream. The whiteboard is tilted. I know it's tilted. The camera's tilted. What? Maybe just too bright still. It looks okay to me in my preview, but oops. Let me darken it a little bit. Is that better? Maybe that makes it a little bit easier. It looks fuzzy to me. I think what I just need that black marker that I had. Hold on, everyone. I'm gonna look. I'm walking around. You can probably still hear me. I'm looking to see if there's any other whiteboard markers anywhere. Can you still hear me? Oh well. Okay, I just got to keep going, I guess. Better. Okay, it's better now. Okay, people don't like. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go back into the tutorial. I forgot where I was. I was talking about how I wanted to add a little bit of friction. Okay, so that'll be an edit point. But here we come back into the tutorial. Okay, so one thing I want to add is a little bit of dampening or friction, just to make it a little easier for me to play right now. And also it's an interesting thing to see. In the update function, what I'm going to do is always say this.velocity.multiply by 0.95. So I just want to reduce the velocity, the magnitude of that vector, by 5% every frame. And you'll see what that does. So as I accelerate, it kind of slows down and stops. Now, I'm doing it too much. The other thing is I can't hold down the up key. So I have to do the same exact thing that I did with turning. I need to handle that in ship. So what I'm going to do is say ship.boosting true. I'm going to change this and I'm going to say ship.boosting false. And I'm going to create a variable called this.isBoosting equals false. And then I'm going to write the function this.boosting, which gets a Boolean value as an argument. And I'm going to say this.isBoosting equals b. So I can, and then in update, I think I can just do this in update. I'm just going to say, always say this.boost. So it's always, oh, no, if it's boosting. If this is boosting, then update's already always being called. So I basically want to turn boosting on and off. Boost is totally the wrong word. I think the word is thrust. But whatever, it doesn't matter. You get the idea. OK, so I think this is exciting. Ooh, I think this is going to work. Let's see. Oh, my God. So now I can hold, oh, whoa. OK, it went really fast. So now I need to deal with the fact that because I can hold it down, that force is much too strong. So I'm going to say force.multiply by 0.5. So I'm going to reduce its magnitude by half. Actually, I'm going to reduce it by 90% just to sort of see. So you can see I can now hold the mouse down, and it has that, and turn it around. So it's essentially like drive it around the screen. The friction is too much, though. I just wanted to have a little bit of dampening. So I'm going to say multiply by 0.99. There we go. So I've got asteroids here, pretty much. I've got the core mechanic now down of driving this triangle around the screen. This is totally fun. OK, now, what do I need to do? Boy, there's a lot left to do. I need to add actual asteroids. I also need to deal with the fact that this should wrap around. That's kind of an easy problem. Let's add that real quick. So I should add a function called this.edges equals function. Oh, this is going to be so tedious. And I want to say if this.pos.x is greater than a width plus minus this.r. So I just want to kind of like if it's, no, plus r, if it's like all the way off the screen, then have its position equal negative r. Else if this.pos.x is less than negative this.r, then have its position get reset to the other side of the screen, right? So this should do it for x. Whoops. Let's drive off this side. Oh, I do this every time. When you write a function, you need to actually call it for anything to ever happen. So in draw, I now also want to say ship.edges. Let's see if that works now. Whoops. And drive off the screen. And I got an error. I forgot this dot. Where did I forget this dot? In my edges function, this.r. And this.r. I don't need this.width, right? Because width refers to the width in the sort of global sense of the canvas, but r is part of this ship object. So now I can drive off the edge, and here I come back. So asteroids kind of like, we would see it in both places in fancier ways and stuff. Now I just need to implement this for the top and the bottom. Height and y and y and y and height. So now I can drive off the top, the side, and I can like turn around and slow myself down. So I can drive around. This is fun. I really got to not get distracted and keep playing the game. OK, it's time. Let's add some asteroids. Now, one thing I don't love here is that my code is getting to be a little bit unwieldy. So I want to take this whole ship constructor function, and I'm going to add a new file. And I'm going to call it ship.js. And I'm going to put the whole ship constructor function there. I'm going to make a new file called asteroid.js because I want all the code for the asteroids, things that are flying around, I want to put there. And then what I need to do is in my index.html file, I need to make sure that I am also referencing ship.js and asteroid.js. So I haven't done anything that should change the way this program works. I just reorganized my code a little bit. I feel good about that. How do you feel about that? Are you still watching? Maybe. I feel like I've been doing this for hours. It probably hasn't been that long. OK, so now asteroids. So the first thing I need to deal with is the fact that unlike the ship, where there's just one of them, I'm going to need many asteroids flying around the screen. So I need to say var asteroids equals bracket bracket, because I want it to be an array being a list of things as opposed to one thing. And then what I want to do, just to get started, I want to say asteroids.push new asteroid. Push being a function that adds something to an array, and I forgot 2 parentheses there. So I need to add an asteroid to that list. And then in the draw loop, I is less than, I want a loop. Now, one of the other comments I get constantly on my channel is, why don't you use a for each loop? And maybe someday I will. But I'm just kind of, I'm like old and not very good at this, and I'm just sort of used to these kind of loops with iterating over an index. So someday I'll add a for each loop in JavaScript to some of these, but right now I'm just going to do this. So I'm going to do asteroids indexi.render. So notice this is a technique that I often employ. I haven't actually written any of the code for the asteroid. I'm just imagining what I need. I need an array, I need to make a new one, and then I need to loop through all of them and add and call render. So now this gives me kind of a template for what I need to write in this asteroid.js JavaScript file. I need to write a constructor function called asteroid. I also want the asteroid to have a position, create vector. And you know what? The position for right now will just be a random spot, random width, random being a p5.js function that gives me a random number between 0 and some value like width or height. And then I need a render function, which is something that I'll draw. Now, what I'm going to do right now, just for the, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to call this, I'm going to say translate this.pos.x, this.pos.y, and I'm just going to write, I'm just going to draw a circle. 0, 0, and you know what? We need an r as well. This.r equals 50. And then I'm going to say this.r times 2, because the ellipse function wants a diameter. So to draw a circle. So the radius times 2 is the diameter. So let's see how this goes. Where's my asteroid? There it is. So you can see there's an asteroid. OK, I'm just checking to make sure. Oh, I lost. Oh, why did I lose my chat here? Sorry, this is an edit point because I lost the chat where I keep an eye on just to see if there's any technical difficulties. I don't know why I lost that. Sorry about this. This is also a pause edit point for the actual video. Requests from, hold on, I'm just replying to a message here about YouTube moderation. OK, here we go. I am going to continue. Wow. OK, so now here's the thing. There's one asteroid, and it's a circle. Let me make this easier for editing. Here's one asteroid, and it's a circle. I can hit refresh, and it should. I must have something wrong with my random. Because, right, look, it seems to be off the screen. Let's take a look at that. Random width, random height. Oh, I know what the problem is. I meant to talk about this, but I forgot. So here's the thing. These translates build on each other. So the ship is translating and rotating the triangle. The asteroid is now translating the ellipse. So that asteroid is actually being drawn relative to the ship's location, and I can show you what I mean like this. I got to get it to appear. Look, as I move. Now that's kind of interesting, but it's not what we want. So one thing I need to add are these functions that are in P5 that are the functions push and pop. So push is going to save the current translation and rotation state, and pop is going to restore it. So if I put push and pop around it, it makes all this translate rotate for the triangle not affect the other thing. And you can see now, and it also actually the styles. So you can see now the asteroid is being positioned, randomly. Now, let me go back to here, the asteroid, and I also need to add that to here, because there's going to be a lot of asteroids, and I want them to be independent from each other. And I'm also going to say stroke 255, no fill. OK, so now what I want to do, even though I could just keep going, I think it would be really good for us to sort of procedurally generate random asteroids that have that jaggedy look from the original Asteroids game. I could make this game just with the circles, but in some ways that defeats the point of what I want to do. So I know the whiteboard's not the greatest today, but I'm going to come over here and just briefly explain how I'm going to do this. So I used the function ellipse, and the cameras are about to shut off. So this is going to be a pause point. It's going to get edited. Doing this a lot today. Got to cycle the camera. We lost the, OK. So I'm drawing a circle with the function ellipse. Another way I could draw a circle is by setting all the points of a circle as vertices and then connecting them as one polygon. And you can see this is like a bit less of a high resolution circle. But if I move these points around a little bit, then I can also make something that appears more jaggedy. So how do I get these points? I need to do something called polar to Cartesian coordinate transformation. And I have another video that I think that goes through that in detail, or if I don't, I better make one and link to it from here. But really what I just need to do is think of each one of these spots as an angle from the center and a distance from the center, radius, and then I need to convert that to an xy with a little bit of trigonometry. So time to review your trigonometry. Pause this video and go read about trigonometry if you're watching it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take out this ellipse, and I'm going to write a for loop. Yet again, I'm going to say a equals 0. Actually, you know what I'm going to say? I equals 0. I'm going to use I. I equals 0. I is less than, I don't know, let's just use 10 points. I plus plus. I can use the P5 map function to get an angle. So I want to take I, which goes from 0 to 10, and I want to get an angle that's between 0 and 2 pi, 2 pi being the equivalent of 360 degrees. Then I want to say var x equals this dot r times cosine of that angle. This will give, this is the polar to Cartesian coordinate. The polar coordinate is r comma angle. The Cartesian coordinate is x comma y, named for René Descartes, the mathematician. Var y equals sine of the angle. And then what I can do is I can set a vertex at that x and y position. Okay? And now, in addition to that, what I'm going to do is say begin shape. So I want to create an arbitrary shape out of vertices. This list of vertices, all with their x, y, end shape. And we're going to see what this gives me. So you can see it, there it is. It's kind of like a circle, but it's a little more jaggedy. And notice how it's not connected at the end. So an easy way for me to do that in P5 is just to add this close function, which will tell the shape to close itself at the end. The other thing that I think would be interesting to do is have this be flexible. So each time I do it, I have a different number. I have sort of a different resolution. So I'm going to do a variable called total, which is a random number between, let's say it could be between 5 and 15 points. So this is going to say this dot total, and this would now be this dot total. So sometimes it'll have a few vertices, sometimes it'll have a lot. So you can see I'm getting different ones. And now, you know what would be much better is if I stopped, right now in the sketch, what I should just do here is add a bunch of them. So let's add 10 of them at the beginning. And now, so I don't have to, we can see there's a whole bunch of them, all with a different amount of vertices. Now the other thing I should do is make the size of them variable. So I'm also going to say this dot r equals a random number, I don't know, between 5 and 25. That didn't work. This dot r, oh, that's in the ship. I changed the ship size, which should be fixed. And I want the asteroid itself to have a random value between 15 and 50 it looks like a good sort of maximum size. So now you can see, and this is too many. I want to start it with fewer. So let's just start it with 5. Okay, so we can see here's now a bunch of asteroids. Now here's the thing, these don't look like the asteroids in Asteroids. So how am I going to make them jaggedy and more interesting looking? What I believe I can do is I can actually, let's see, how am I going to do this in the asteroids? What I can do is offset r each time by some random value. But I need it to be the same random values each time. So there's a bunch of ways I could do this, but I'm going to make this, an array. And I need how many? I need however many points I have, I need that many offsets. So this dot offset equals a random amount. So when I create the object, I make an array of offsets for each one of those vertices. And let's say it's between like -5 and 5. I might want to make it bigger. And then now the x and y is plus this dot offset index I. And you know what, let me make this a little simpler to read. I'm going to just make another variable. The r is actually this dot r plus the offset for each one. And now here's the polar to Cartesian, coordinate transformation. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, I hope this works. Oh boy, I'm going to be excited if it does. If it looks like asteroids. Total is not defined. This dot total. Where's total not defined? This dot total. Oh, I don't see any asteroids. This dot offset index I see in the chat. Somebody is, yes, I need an index I here. I need to set each spot in the array. Whoops. There we go. That's looking kind of better. So you can see these look kind of more like asteroids. We can make the offset much more extreme. Yeah, this is better. So now I've got something that looks much more like those procedurally generated asteroids. All right, somebody asks what prompts me to ring the bell. I guess I'm doing that every time I have a bug and I fix it, or I have a bug and I don't fix it. Okay, I don't want to, here we go, got to keep going. So now these asteroids, by the way, I can still drive around, right? The whole point is to drive around and not hit the asteroids. They're a little bit big. I don't know if I'm making this game too hard to play, but the asteroids should move, right? I need the asteroids now to move around the screen. So they need an update function. And the same thing, I could just say this.position.add this.velocity. Only they don't have a velocity, so let me give them a velocity. This.velocity equals, and P5 has a function to create a random vector. So a vector of length 1 pointing in a random direction. So I can just say random 2D to give me a random vector. If I go to sketch.js, I can say asteroids index I.update. And here we go. There we go. Now the asteroids are moving around. Oh, the asteroids also need to when they leave, to come back. So one thing I can probably do is just reuse this edges function. You know, I could do some kind of fancy object-oriented inheritance thing, but I'm just going to take this exact function and yeah, I could use the same function and assign it to both, but I'm just going to copy paste it right now. Then I'm going to go to sketch.js and say asteroids.edges. Okay, there we go. Now I've got the asteroids moving around, and now all I need to do, boy, am I not finished yet? Oh yeah, I have no collision detection. So I'm definitely not going to add collision detection to this today. Because, you know, whatever, asteroids, they're in different z space and they pass through each other in a sort of magical sense. And what happened to my ship? There it is. But I should add a feature where I can now fire little lasers at the asteroids and break them apart. Okay, so let's see if we can manage to add that. Whew. So I'm going to add another JavaScript file, call it laser.js. And here what I want is, once again, I need a position. And I need a velocity. And I need an update function. I need all the same sort of things, which is this.position.add this.velocity. And then I need a render function. And I'm just going to draw it as a point. Point this dot x, this dot y, and a stroke 255. I'm going to say stroke weight 4 to make it a little bit thicker. And so now, if what I need also now, just the same way I made the asteroids, I need, and you know what? I'm tempted to put these in the ship object. Like the ship keeps tracks of its own lasers, but just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to make an array out here. So I'm going to make an array, and I'm going to, in draw, just like with the asteroids, I'm going to loop through all the lasers, and I'm going to render and update them. It doesn't need an edges function. And now when do I create them? So let's say I want to create them when I hit the space bar. So I don't know what the key code is for the space bar, but I can also just say if key equals space. So I can add to this key pressed function, and I can say lasers.push new laser. Now here's the thing. where should the laser start? Well, the laser should start wherever the ship is. So I actually, in this case, want to pass something in to that laser constructor, and I want to pass ship.position. So I want to say create a laser where the ship is. So now if I go into that laser, I can receive an argument like ship. I could just call this ship spos for like ship position, starting position, and I can say create a vector spos.x, spos.y. So I'm copying essentially by making a new vector with the same x and y. And so now if I refresh this and I hit space, okay, laser is not defined. I'm not going to ring the bell. Now what I need to do is make sure I have a reference also to laser.js. I added a new JavaScript file in my index.html5. My brain is melting. I've been doing this for too long. Okay, this is a long coding challenge. Okay, here we go. Let's see, spacebar. Oh, look at that. It changed the stroke weight of everything. That was kind of exciting, but it did not. I don't see any dots on the screen. So let's have a look here. Let's look in the console for lasers. I definitely added a bunch, and their positions are on the screen. Why am I not seeing them? So a couple things. One is, am I calling this.render? Sketch.js, am I calling this.render? Draw lasers. Am I calling lasers.render? I am lasers.i.render. Let's, okay. And, oh, you know what I did wrong? This is like total nonsense. This.x and this.y doesn't exist. What does the laser have? It has a position vector and a velocity vector. So this is this.pos.x and this.pos.y. And by the way, let's add the push and pop here so that stroke weight doesn't affect anything else. Whoops. And now I can hit. So you can see as I move, it creates little dots where the ship is. Now here's the thing. I want those dots to move, and I want them to point in the direction of the ship itself. So in addition, when I make one of these laser objects, where did I do that? Right here. I not only need to make it the laser with the ship's position, but I should really pass in that heading as well. Right? I want to give it the angle, because the angle is going to tell it which way should it be pointing when it creates a vector to start moving. So if I add ship.heading to the constructor, I can now say, that's an angle that I'm getting in the laser. I can say p5.vector from angle, angle. Now, did I call update in the main sketch? I don't want to make the same mistake. I did. So now we should have, yeah, they're kind of slow, but they do work. Look at that. This is fun. Okay, so first of all, they're coming out of the center, which is a little bit weird. I should probably make them come out of the front, but I could offset them. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I am going to make them move much faster, though, because that's ridiculously slow. So I'm going to say this.velocity.multiply. I'm going to multiply it by like 10, so they're 10 times as fast. That's really fast. And you know, I could do a little trick. I bet you won't notice if with the ship, if I actually set, when I draw the ship, instead of no fill, if I set its fill to 0, so I give it a black fill, it's actually going to cover over the lasers. As long as in sketch.js, mi, where I need to make sure the ship is drawn after the lasers so that it covers them. Now we should see, yeah, that looks a little bit better. So now all I need to do is figure out when the lasers hit those asteroids. And when they hit the asteroids, I need the asteroids to break apart. Ooh, this is exciting. Okay, here we go. So, boy, so many features. I think this might be the last feature I'm going to do. So I do need some kind of collision detection here. So how do I do that? Well, here's a loop where I am looping over all the asteroids. Here's a loop where I'm looping over all the lasers. I need to check every single laser against every single asteroid. right? I need to do something like if lasers index I hits asteroids index j, right? For every laser I, check every single asteroid. Now here's the thing, I need another loop. So I need my asteroids loop inside the lasers loop. Oh, and this should be j. I can't use I for both loops, otherwise my program will get wildly confused. So now I'm saying, now hits is not some automatic function that just exists. I almost want to just like run this code and it'll work. I'm writing up the code again to tell me what I need to put into my objects. If I was using some kind of game programming framework or library, there's one for P5 called p5.play. It might have collision detection built into it, but I'm just going to do something simple here myself. Lasers index I hits asteroids index j. So that means in the laser object, I need a function called hits that expects an asteroid object. So I go to laser, and I say this dot hits equals function asteroid. And then now, how do I determine if the two things are colliding? Well, there's actually an easy way for me to do this, because what I have is I have a like circular-like thing, and I have a dot. So if this was a perfect circle, I could just determine is the distance from the dot to the center less than the radius or greater than the radius. If it's greater than the radius, it's outside. If it's less than the radius, it's inside. And you know, it's going to be slightly off for some of these jaggedy edges, but it all happens so fast, I bet no one will notice. You could do like complex, elaborate polygon thing yourself if you want, and write it in the comments and send me your corrections. Okay, so now I want to say var d equals distance, which is a p5 function, between this dot pos dot x, this dot pos dot y, and the asteroid dot pos dot x, asteroid pos dot y. So I want the distance between the positions xy and the asteroids, the lasers xy and the asteroids xy. If the distance is less than this dot r plus asteroid dot r, this doesn't have an r, just the asteroids are. If the distance is less than the asteroid's radius, then it's colliding. Hit. So I'm just going to, and I'm going to just console log hit for a second and see if this works. Come on, hit. No, I don't. Oh, That's not working. Let's see if we can figure that out. So one thing I might do here is just, is this actually happening? Let's look at that distance value. So I must have forgotten to call this. Sketch.js. If lasers index I hits asteroids index j. Well, I am calling it. Let's see if this is happening. About to test. No. Oh, well, no, there's no lasers. So it's, if the lasers is 0, there we go. Oh, it is working. I just forgot that I'm not going to see any console.log if there's no lasers because it's not at this part yet. Ugh. OK, here we go. So now let me refresh this, and let's look at these distance values. Well, I must not be saving things properly. Things are caching a little bit. OK, so we can see these distance values. Kind of makes sense. So why am I not seeing anything hit? So, oh, OK, well, hold on. Let's make sure asteroid.r is a value. That makes sense. And let's compare those. This is hard to see because of my font size. So I just have I just not, oh, no, this should be right. Have I just not hit one yet? This looks pretty good to me. Am I just that bad at doing this? All right, hold on. This might have to get edited. Some of this might have to get edited out of the final version of this. This dot hits. Oh. Am I truly? Let's check here. Sketch.js. Let me look at all my different, somebody in the chat is probably going to correct me here. Let me look over here. Lasers index I hits asteroids index J. Right, that's actually happening. Why is this never happening? Let's just, is it actually working and I'm just losing my, oh, it is working. I think it's been working all along. I just didn't actually hit any of them. So you can see it's working. Sorry, everybody. So the whole point of what I wanted to do here, I'm not sure if some of that should have gotten edited out or not, but it's working now. It has been working. I just didn't have the console log in the right place or something. Ooh. So what I actually want to do, if you look at my sketch.js, is that if the lasers hit, this is an if statement, so I want that to evaluate to true or false. So what I want to do is return true if that's the case. Now, this is another thing. I could actually just return the result of d less than asteroid.r, but I like to be annoying and write extra code when I don't need to. And also I just think for sort of teaching purposes, it's sort of, sometimes it makes it a little more readable to see the whole thing written out. Because what I'm doing is I'm returning true or false based on whether the distance is in that threshold or not. So if it is within that threshold, what do I need to do? I need to do a couple things. In sketch.js, I need to say asteroids index j break up. So what happens in the game Asteroids? When your laser hits the asteroid, it breaks into two smaller asteroids. So how am I going to do that? Ooh, this is tricky, tricky, tricky. Boy, this is not as easy as I thought. Okay, so first of all, one thing I need to do is I think the way to do this is to remove, remember I have an array of asteroids. So I want to remove the bigger asteroid from the array and add two smaller ones in the same spot. So what I can do is I can maybe have this function breakup, new asteroids, return two new asteroids that are smaller but look the same. And then what I can do is I can say asteroids dot push new asteroids. So it's going to add, and then what I want to do is say asteroids dot splice I, 1. So what I want to do is I want to, I'm going to pause for a second because it looks like the chat is going totally crazy. And I'm going to see if I can do something to fix it. So this is going to have to be, because I think there's a way that I might be able to add, I'm sorry about this, everybody. The chat looks like it's completely unusable. And I'm going to see if I can slow it down. I think there's a chat slow mode. So yeah, the chat is going crazy. Let's see. I cannot believe there are close to 3,000 people watching this right now. That is completely insane. I believe there is a setting for the chat. First of all, a setting. Enable slow mode. Limit chat posts to every 60 seconds per person. Automatically block spam messages. Let's try both of those. This should now, my changes are being saved. So hopefully this is going to fix it. Wow, I guess I should be so lucky to have this problem. Okay, I'm going to give it a second to see if that does the trick. As always, I always forget the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm going to do this dot, this dot. I'm going to do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm going to do this dot, this dot. I'm going to do dot, this dot, this dot. By the way, everybody in the chat is pointing out how that I should be a J. This dot, this dot. Never forget this dot, this dot, this dot. So I enabled slow mode. Slow mode, by the way, gives me some options. Is it 12:30 already? Oh, I want to at least get to one more coding challenge. Let me just look at the settings again for the chat. Slow mode has an option that says limit chat posts to every blank seconds per person. Is there a, and in the splice, yes. Is there a number I should put in? Right now it's at 60. Let me know in the chat if it should be something different. Wow, the chat's now back, back in control. Okay. Anybody? I'm going to look at my Slack chat. All right, so I'm gonna just keep going. 120 seconds. I'm definitely not gonna make it higher. 20 seconds. Okay. I'd say 10. Okay, I'm gonna overshoot it here. I'm gonna do 10 seconds. I can always raise it. Changes are being saved. Okay, so I made it 10, and that looks like things are now a bit more under control. Wow, this is amazing. I never imagined this would be my life. Here I am. I'm like something years old. I'm very tired all the time. My voice hurts. I have throat issues. I take care of small children all the time, but here I am on YouTube with all these people watching from all over the world, and it's really thrilling and really fun for me, and I really thank you guys. I am going to change the J, okay? But I want that to be in the video. So I'm going to go, yes, I'm going to go back. I'm going to try it with 10 seconds now and see how that does. I'm going to go back to my Slack. All right, okay. I need to kind of get myself... Got some energy here, and now I am going to be back in the video. Oops. So by the way, I'm using the wrong index here. I goes with lasers, J goes with asteroids. So this has to be J, and this has to be J as well. Okay? So, so now, this should work. There's some issues here. First of all, I have to write this function breakup that generates 2 new asteroids. So this won't work. Let's do that first. So I need to go to the asteroid object, and I need to write a function called this.breakup equals function. And I'm going to say var new a for new asteroids is an empty array. So what I need to do is I basically need to create 2 new asteroids at this particular location. So this is an issue. Like the asteroids constructor function does not receive any arguments. I want it to, if it doesn't receive an argument, create an asteroid at a random location. If it does receive an argument, create an asteroid at a specific location. So I'm going to add an argument pos here, and I'm going to say this.pos equals pos, let's see, I'm just going to say right now if pos. This.pos equals pos. I could be more efficient about this with like an or kind of in the statement, but just, so what I want to say is if this constructor received an argument, set its position to that position. Otherwise, make a random position. Here's the problem though. I don't want to just set the vectors equal to each other because they're objects, and they will both actually point to the same object and things won't move properly. So I need to make sure I copy this vector when I bring it in. So this will create the asteroids at that location. Now, there's a bunch more things I need to add here, but let's just see how that does. Okay, so, and then, so what I need to do here is say new A index 0 equals new asteroid at this one's position, and then a second one, also at this one's position, and then return those 2. So this should now give me 2 new asteroids whenever I hit one of them. Okay, cannot read property X of undefined. Laser. I bet you I'm missing a this or a pos. Laser.js line 18. Laser.js line 18. Whoa. X of undefined. Oh, okay. I know what the problem is. Guess what? I have, now it's funny that that didn't work, but what I've actually, and I'm going to have, camera cycled off. Have I really been going for an hour here? This is a really long coding challenge. I should probably do this in multiple parts, but it's too late. You can look up my age on Wikipedia, I think, by the way, those of you in the chat are asking. I don't know why I'm like, 43. Okay, so I think. You know, the problem is when you get this old, you forget. I don't remember. After 40, I don't remember what birthday I've gone past. Okay, yeah. So there's a whole bunch of problems here. I need to. I'm out. I'm in an edit point right now, so I need to not do anything till I get back in it. Okay, there's a big problem here, which is that I'm looping through the asteroids and adding new asteroids at the same time. So that's really a big problem because I'm adding some asteroids, then I'm going to check those, and I might add some more asteroids, then I'm going to check those. So I really need to loop through the array backwards so that when I add stuff, I don't check them again. So I'm going to start the loop at asteroids.length -1, go all the way to j is greater than or equal to 0, and j minus minus. Okay, so that should help. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to add them right now, because I'm just going to say console.log new asteroids. I'm getting some nice messages of tips in my chat. Okay, so I just want to see. Okay, it's gone, and I'm seeing 2 new in the console. So that's a good sign. So I'm seeing 2 new asteroids, and so I should be able to add those now. But there's a problem. When I add them, the laser is going to be right there, and it's going to be intersecting with those 2 new, and then it's going to add 2 more. So I'm going to get stuck. The reason why I commented that out is I could see this like recursive loop happening where laser hits asteroid, laser hits asteroid, laser hits asteroid, and it's going to go crazy. So fortunately, what I need to do here is also loop through the lasers backwards. I minus minus, and then I also need to say lasers.splice I comma 1, right? I want to remove that 1 laser. So let's see if that works now. Whoops. Okay, cannot read property hits of undefined. So I think this is not working properly. Oh, I forgot to push them in. No? Where did that happen? Oh, so many bugs. Sketch.js line 26. So my asteroids are undefined the lasers are undefined for whatever reason. Because I'm removing it. And look at this. You know what? This is kind of unbelievable. But there's a problem here where I need to just break out of this loop. I'm done with that laser. So I need to just hit break. Because I think I'm going back and checking things that don't exist anymore. Let's try that. Yes, there we go. So now you can see the laser and the asteroid goes away. And now I should be able to push. But okay, so I thought of that in my head. And you might be wondering, what did I just do? The problem is I'm saying lasers index I, and then I delete that laser immediately. But I'm still in this loop because there's a bunch of asteroids that I'm checking for each laser. So I need to make sure I get out of that asteroids loop because I'm done immediately. So break will do that for me. I hope that makes sense. So now I should be able to say asteroids push new asteroids. And we should see asteroids.indexI.render is not a function. Okay, so I removed the asteroids and I was, which loop am I breaking out of? I'm breaking out of, so let's look at the asteroids array and see what it looks like. And I need to have a bit more room here. Okay. Oh, look at this. So it doesn't do what I thought it would do. I just thought if I called push and gave it an array, it would add both of them to the array. But it doesn't actually do that. It added a 4th element, which is an array, which is 2. So how do I add an array? I thought push would do that, but I guess it doesn't. Concatenate. There's like a concatenate 2 arrays together function, right? JavaScript concatenate 2 arrays. I could also just write my own little loop. Concat method. So concat takes one array and concats it with the other one. Okay, so what I want to do, this should work. I should be able to say, instead of push, asteroids equals asteroids.concat the new asteroids. So merge those two arrays together. Oops, I'm in the wrong place. Here we go. Let's see if I get this to work. All right, now it's splitting apart. Now here's the thing. In addition to having them split apart, they should get smaller. So what I want to do is in the asteroids, I should also optionally receive an R value. And I should say if R, and let's just have it always be divided by 2, so times 0.5. Whoops, I lost what I had there. So if it's not receiving an R value, it's a random value. If it is, I get R times 0.5. So now they should be getting smaller each time. Whoops, that didn't look like that worked. I can't tell. This is a big one. Oh, you know what it is? Here's the other thing. Oh, the offsets. The offsets are always between -15 and 15. They really should be a function of the R itself. It should be between negative this dot R and positive this dot R. So like the offset maybe also times 0.5. So it can't. So the offset should, because as they get smaller, the offset shouldn't be as much. I should probably just use scale. Why are they not getting much smaller? Let's see. Oh, that seemed to work. What am I missing here? OK. Oh, I forgot to add it. So I didn't actually pass in the value. So when I make the two new asteroids, not only do I need, you can't just like put something there and then forget to call it, as I seem to do a lot. This dot R, this dot R. Do this for this one. So I don't know if anyone's still watching this, but this dot R, this dot R. OK. So now that should get me what I want, which is, there we go. They're smaller. Look at that. Each time I hit them, they're smaller. Now, I could also copy the offsets so the shapes are exactly the same, but this is sort of close enough for me. The other thing is once they get to a certain size, they should just be removed. So another thing that I should do is in sketch.js is I should have some sort of threshold, and I should say, as long as asteroids index j dot r is greater than, what's a good r? Let's say 10. As long as it's greater than 10, then you can do all this breaking up stuff. Otherwise, increase the score. Otherwise, do nothing. Increase the score. So I'm still always going to remove the asteroid and the laser, but I only want to like double it if there are. Actually, I should always be increasing the score, because so whatever. So I only want to do that if the asteroids are greater than 10. So now let's try to play this a little bit. 10 is really small, but you can see they're gone after a certain amount. Look at this. I'm getting distracted by playing this game. OK, this is totally fun. OK, I think basically I've done everything now except for one thing. I should probably add something where you die. Well, maybe not die. You just start over or do something different if the ship hits the asteroids. And this will be the last feature that I'm going to add in this coding challenge. OK, so now what I need is somewhere out here in the asteroids loop, I could say if ship.hits asteroids index I, then I'm just going to console.log. I'm just going to add a console.log because I'm feeling tired. This will be an exercise. Console.log, oops. So I need to now add a function in ship, which says this dot hits equals a function which expects an asteroid. And I can also calculate the distance again between this dot pos dot x, this dot pos dot y, asteroid dot pos dot x, asteroid pos dot y. And now, if d is less than, I'm like losing my mind here. This dot r, right, plus asteroid.r. So I'll just add the two like side. One's a triangle, one's a strange polygon. This isn't exactly right, but it's pretty close. I'm going to say return true, otherwise return false. And now here we go. Let's just see. We're going to look in the console. If I die, let's see if I can win this game. I should probably test it sooner than later, but I haven't died yet. Oh, okay, I'm getting hit. So you can see that I'm getting hit. So I've got something close enough. I could change. I should actually probably like change its color or something so we could sort of see some visual feedback. But this is the basic game mechanic. So remember, here, there, I did it. Coding challenge, programmed asteroids in JavaScript using the P5.js framework in the browser. I would love it if anybody takes this game. The code for this will be on GitHub. And I might try to make a code pen out of it as well. So look in this video's description. You can find the code, play with it, tweet me a revision, add stuff for me. Like what I need to do now, because this, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this Asteroids game is part one of a collaboration with Siraj. Siraj has a YouTube channel and makes videos about machine learning. And I'm going to pass this game off to him, and he's going to train a bot to play it and get a super high score. So the bot's going to learn how to turn the ship, push it, shoot, destroy all the asteroids. So I need to add really just like a score mechanism and a lives mechanism. So if anybody wants to volunteer to do that, you can fork its code on GitHub, make some variations on it, and I'll pass that off to Siraj, and I'll see you in another coding challenge. Wait. Don't go anywhere. I forgot something. In the Patreon chat on Slack, somebody points out my lasers array is getting just bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This is a definite problem. So I do need to do something which also says, this video's not over. You thought it was over. I really should add something that says, if lasers index I off screen, then also laser splice I index 1. So I'm going to do that. Yeah, I think if I just do that here, that should be OK. But if I've already removed it here, that's fine. I'm just checking the next one. That's fine, I think. We'll see. So now I need to add a function. And it's actually very similar to the edges function. So I'm going to look for like one of the edges function in like ship. And I'm going to go into laser. And I'm going to say this off screen equals function. If pos.x is greater, I don't need any of this.r stuff, just if it's greater than width, this is probably more trouble than it's worth, less than 0, if it's greater than height, or less than 0. If any of these are true, and I can put these together in an OR, which maybe I'll do here. So OR this, return true. If it's either one of these, this is a really ridiculous way I'm writing this, then also return true. Otherwise, return false. So let's now look at what I want to do now, just to see that this is working, is I want to console log lasers.length to see if that array is growing or shrinking. And also, I think I have some extra weird console log somewhere, but that's fine. So we should see there's 0 lasers right now. And does it get back to 0? Yeah, now it's back to 0. So you can see this is working. Great. So now that laser array, off screen of undefined. Sketch.js line 39. If it doesn't exist, because it possibly could have been removed here. This is oh, you know what I can just do is here. And then I can break. So if it's off screen, no, that's, go to the next one. Don't bother. Otherwise, there's got to be a better way to write this. This is like an hour into this video. Nobody's watching this anyway anymore. So I got to think of a better way to do this, but my brain has melted. But so what I'm doing is I'm saying, if it's off the screen, get rid of it. Otherwise, you can start to check at it, check against all these asteroids. And that should fix that problem. And I don't know why my iTunes opened. People are going to start complaining now that I'm using a Mac. I get that complaint a lot. So now I should be able to say, the lasers are now, the array is not, I'm trying to win this game. Whoa. Okay, you don't need to watch me play this game anymore. I'll play it on my own time. Thanks for watching this coding challenge. Go and watch, as soon as it's available, there'll be a link in this video's description to Suraj's video where he trains a bot to play this game. I'm super excited to see how that works and what happens, and I hope to see you back in another video sometime soon. Thanks again. Oh my goodness. Does anybody, this live stream has been going on for an hour and 35 minutes. Does anybody have any guess as to how long this coding challenge is going to be? Probably an hour, right? It's 12:50. I want to do one more thing today besides asteroids. This is the classic thing. One always thinks that something is going to take a tenth of the time than it actually does. An hour, yes. Okay, so now before I forget, I need to record an intro to this video. So the intro to this video is, I'm going to have the game here, and I'm going to mention Suraj's channel. So let me pull that up again. I think it's Suraj.
Yeah. It's been a ride.
I'm going to pause his music video trailer. Surajology. Surajology. Do you think that's how you pronounce it? Tell me in the chat. Surajology? So I'm getting a great suggestion in the, so what I think I'm going to do is actually break this video into 2 parts, because I think an hour is a particularly long amount of time for a YouTube video. So I'm going to record 2 brief introductions. Now I'm doing like a time travel thing. And so the first one will be the ship and the asteroids, and the second one will be the lasers. And it'll just get edited as 2 videos. Okay? Here we go. Well, I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat. It's kind of fascinating. Thanks, Al. So what do you guys think? Suraj is his name. Surajology? Surajology. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Here we go. So I need to do these video intros now. So first what I'm going to do is, I like this image. So I'm just going to leave this here. I need a tissue. Blow my nose. Maybe I should mute my microphone while I do that. No, I think I got them asteroids disappearing after getting to a small size. Didn't I get that? So, by the way, someone in the chat asked, can you do some coding from start to end for beginners? So I hate to keep doing this, but I'm going to just show you guys, if you have never done any programming before and you want to kind of learn and get started, I highly recommend these playlists here. I don't highly recommend anything. Whoa, scratch that. I just sort of like cautiously, with great trepidation, sort of recommend these playlists. So this is my playlist, Foundations of Programming in JavaScript from the Beginning. So that's the one that I would take a look at. Okay. So wait, I'm recording these intros now. So I just need this open and this open. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this full screen. And I'm going to play my game. Okay, ready? This video is now going to start. Oh, hello! I'm trying to play this game, Asteroids, right now. So I'm coming to you from the future. I just did a coding challenge where I programmed this exact thing with the P5JS library without any preparation. There were a lot of bugs, a lot of problems. It's the game Asteroids. It's missing a bunch of features, but this is I got to do this again. Too much babbling. Put kittens in the background. Okay. I wonder if I should be streaming on Twitch, by the way. Twitch is like the place to stream, right? I'm old, so I don't know what I should be doing with my life anymore. Okay, sorry, I'm going to try this again. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, hello. I just did a coding challenge and made this game Asteroids. And I want to, in a moment, you're going to watch me do it from scratch if you want to keep watching this video. And the reason why this is very awkward. I've never done this before, and I'm having trouble figuring this out. You guys are being very kind to bear with me here. I'm going to try this one more time. Yeah, there's a lot of cringe here. I'm all about cringe. I am a cringe-worthy person. Pew, 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 pew. Okay, hi everyone. I just did a coding challenge where I programmed this game from scratch using the P5JS library in JavaScript. And in a moment, I'm going to travel back into time, and you're going to watch that coding challenge. This is the end result. I'm doing this after I actually did it, recording this part. The reason why I'm doing that is I want to mention something to you. I want to tell you about Suraj's channel, Surajology. Suraj makes video tutorials about machine learning. And now that I've done this coding challenge, I'm going to pass this game off to Suraj, and Suraj is going to train a bot to play it and get a high score. Now the game doesn't actually have the score features yet. I'm going to add that in later. So check this video's description, and you'll find a machine learning thing that that was pretty good. Stop with the pew pew. You guys don't like the pew pew? Okay. I shouldn't be looking at the chat. Okay, wait. I'm not gonna start over from the beginning because it's torturing you guys too much. So I'm just gonna. This will just get cut. Edited. So check this video's description for a link to Suraj's video where the bot plays Asteroids and hopefully plays it much better than I ever could. So now I'm going to go back into time and start this coding challenge, which will happen in 2 parts. The first part will just be programming the asteroids and the ship, and the second part will be the lasers. Pew, pew, pew. Nobody likes that I'm saying pew, pew, pew in the chat. They're really upset, which is only making me do it more, which is kind of a problem. Enjoy the video. Enjoy the coding challenge. See you at the end, or in the next one. Bye. Is that going to do, Mathieu? Should I do that again? I don't know. I want it to just be like 10 seconds. I'm going to do the part 2 now. Okay, I'm going to do part 2. Welcome to part 2 of my Asteroids coding challenge. If you watched the previous one, I had a ship and I had asteroids, but no, pew, 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 lasers. So in this particular second part of the coding challenge, I'm going to add the lasers, which hit the asteroids and break them up into small pieces. And don't forget, if you're interested in machine learning, after I finish this video, which I've already finished, I don't know, I've got some time travel thing going on, you can go to the link in the description to Suraj's channel, where he will have, at some point soon, a video that trains a bot to play my Asteroids game, okay? So enjoy part 2 of this Asteroids challenge. Okay. There will be 2 main reasons for downvotes. Pew, 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 and do-do-do-do-do-do. I totally agree. Mathieu, let me know if you think that'll do, or if I should. I can always redo that stuff later when I'm not live streaming. But I can't do anything if I'm not live streaming. All right, so I think I'm done with this. Yeah, I should really do PewDiePie, PewDiePie. Yes, it'll do fine, I think. It's a ringing endorsement. Okay, I don't watch PewDiePie, actually, but I did notice that PewDiePie got 50 million subscribers, and I have a lot in my mind, way more than I ever expected, but not that many. I have no idea how many is watching right now. Okay, Game of Life has been requested. So let me see here. It's 1 o'clock. I do have another half an hour. I'm trying to think of what I can reasonably do. Did I really lose 500 viewers just by going pew pew pew? Did the viewer? There's a graph I can look at. Okay, those of you who are in the Slack channel, the patrons in the Slack channel, you should post your messages in the live channel. I mean, I guess I could be in general, but I wasn't watching the live channel. There's a graph I can look at. Okay, I better stop. So I'm in the live channel. I can't watch general and live. So if you want me to read messages, post them in the live channel. Making them a 2-player game would be great. Okay, so let's see. So I had intended to do 2 more coding challenges today. One about latitude, longitude mapping stuff, and another with pixel sorting. There's a lot of requests for Game of Life, which is kind of interesting. I'm trying to decide if I can manage to have enough time here. Let me give you guys a musical interlude. As always, I always forget the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot, this dot, this dot. This dot song. This dot. I need to rest my voice a little bit. That's why I'm not talking. Never forget this dot. This dot. This dot. This dot. I'm gonna do this dot. This dot. I'm gonna do this dot. This dot. This dot. I'm gonna do this dot. This dot. I'm gonna do dot. This dot. This dot. This dot. I'm gonna do this dot. This dot. I'm gonna do this dot. This dot. This dot. I'm gonna do this dot. This dot. I'm gonna do this dot. This dot. This dot. This dot song. This dot. This dot. This dot. Never forget this dot. This dot. That's the wrong. This dot. This dot. Never forget this dot. I'm gonna do the this dot. This dot. This dot. This dot. The this dot song. Never forget the this dot. Somebody composed that song for me. I had a different. It's fine. I'm gonna use this. I had a better sunflower image, I think. So I need an image for pixel sorting. I'm just going to use this sunflower image. Actually, what am I doing here? I want to make sure whatever I'm using is a Creative Commons licensed image. Ooh, Helianthus sunflower. So I believe this image, public domain. So let me use this one and save it as sunflower. And I want, let me look at the adjust size here. Oh, here, I'll put on some more music for you guys. SoundCloud, I haven't added this to my, if those of you who came late, I have a new remix. I love when people make remixes of like topics and weird little things that I say into music. It doesn't have to have me in it at all, but music that I can play in the background and stuff. So this is a new one.
Unicorns and rainbows.
Lost, GH Bear, and Poddlepluff. This is also, I don't know how many people are watching right now, but I expect to lose many hundreds of
And
views.
cupcakes. What else is there? Yes, kittens. Thank you very much. Kittens and rainbows and cupcakes. Notice that. Look what I
Make
get.
this a square.
I'm really losing my mind. Okay, let's do it.
400 by 400.
Kittens and kittens and
There we go.
kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens and
Okay,
kittens and
I
kittens
have a square sunflower.
kittens and 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 kittens 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 kittens 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 kittens and
Camera went off. Oh, too loud. Okay, sorry everybody. Sorry everyone, I didn't realize it was too loud. Sorry about that. Let me fix that. Let me not worry about that right now. Okay, not loud enough. Too silent. Kittens and kittens and kittens. All right, all right, all right. Let's put on some. Is this too loud if I put on the Perlin noise?
So this is random, this is noise, Perlin noise that is. In the core random algorithm, the actual random algorithm itself, those numbers aren't related at all. You pick, like, I'm picking random numbers.
Oh. Uh-oh. Ah, this camera died. Oh, it's back. There we go. Oh, and the zoom is gone. Ah, Wirecast. All right, it's fine. Is that music too loud? Okay, I'm back. Sorry, everybody. Audio, video messed up. Yeah, no, I know. I have all sorts of audio, video problems. Okay, it's 1:04. I'm going to attempt to do one more coding challenge. I don't really have enough time for this. But it's like, it's definitely not going to be Tetris. I'm looking at the chat. I'm going to see if I can do a quick pixel sorting. Whoa. Did you guys hear that? I'm gonna try to do pixel sorting. People are asking for the game of life, Pac-Man. And I want to do this in so first of all, this is processing. Processing is a Java-based environment. Go to processing.org. Setup and draw are the sort of control structures of processing. A Java program would typically need a main program. One of the things that processing does, it kind of like wraps what you write inside of a main program and kind of runs it for you when you hit this play button. I can do things like say size 800, 400, and I can say background 0, and I can I can hit run, and I have this sketch that has a blank background. So what I want to do is I'm going to save this and call it pixel sorting. I'm going to put it on the desktop. And I'm going to go to the browser. This might not go so well. Okay, so let's see, images. So pixel sorting refers to a particular algorithm where you take all the pixels of an image and sort them in a particular order, maybe brightness, maybe hue. So what I need to do to make this happen is I need a sorting algorithm, then I need the pixel array, then I need to rewrite the pixels in a different order. Yeah, why not, right? So, and I do want to do a tutorial at some point to show people how to use processing in Eclipse, because that's also been requested a lot. Pixel snorting, yes. I have a little bit of coal, which works. Okay, so let me see if I can manage to do that before I go today, even though this has already been, it hasn't been 2 hours yet. So I feel like I have 2.5 hours is kind of my limit, although I do have this idea of doing a much longer, more like all day live stream at some point. Okay. Let's see. So what I need right now is I need to set up a data folder. And I need to put, this is one I really should have planned ahead for and practiced. So we'll just see how this goes. I need to put it in the data folder. And okay. And I kind of want to just quickly fix something. So sorry, I'm over here, but hopefully you can still hear me. I just need to fix something with this shot, because it is let's see if I can, ooh, shoot. want to make it a little bit more zoomed in so you can see it better. Hopefully that should be a little bit better. Okay. All right, hopefully that's a little bit better, because I might need to use, you're right. Okay. Where am I hiding? Sorry, everybody, here I am. Okay, so I think I'll try sorting by brightness and sorting by hue. And I want to try sorting all at once and also animating the sort. And then I'll give some ideas for some other things you could do with it. And maybe I'll do a follow-up part 2 video. Okay, how does that sound, everybody? So, here we go. I'm going to do another coding challenge. Maybe I better cycle the cameras. I believe I just did that, but just in case. I don't want this to take more than a half an hour. I'm sure it will. Okay. People are asking for the asteroid code. I will try to get that uploaded to GitHub as quickly as I can today. Tweet at me at Schiffman. Because the video itself might not get published for a couple days, but you can tweet at Schiffman, and I'll tweet you back with a link to the Asteroids video or whatever. I'll follow my Twitter out. Once it gets up, I will, not the Asteroids code, that is. And you know, one thing that Suraj does on his channel, which is great, is he kind of like has like a weekly competition. Not competition is maybe the word that I don't want to use, but like challenge. So I guess what I would say, if those of you who want to like remix or make the Asteroids game, if you make a new version of it, send it to me, and I'll show some of those next week when I do a live stream. Okay. Okay, here we go. Hello and welcome to another coding challenge. And in this coding challenge, let me start over. I don't know if the bell is probably a cringe thing that people don't like. I kind of like it, but I'll stop it at some point if I hear enough people complaining. Okay. Hello and welcome to another coding challenge. This challenge, I'm going to attempt something called pixel sorting. And pixel sorting is an algorithm that takes all the pixels of an image or a video or anything and reorganizes them in some order, maybe ordered by brightness or ordered by hue. Maybe they spiral out from the center, or they kind of get ordered across or up and down. And you can see, if you Google an image search with pixel sorting, you'll see a lot of artists and people making art and crazy projects with a pixel sorting algorithm. So I am now going to try to make pixel sorting in Processing, which is a Java-based programming environment. It looks something like this. You can go to processing.org to download it yourself. And the one thing that I've got going here is in this, the code is in a PDE file called pixelsorting.pde. Check this video's description for a link to the code. I also have an image, a JPEG, in the data folder. So you can use any image. I've just grabbed off of Wikipedia an image of a sunflower, and that's what I'm going to pixel sort. So first thing I want to do is I want to create a p-image variable. And then I'm going to say image load image, and it's sunflower.jpg. And then I want to draw the image, image 0, 0. So I want to see here, the canvas that you're going to see is 800 by 400. So what I want to do now is have the raw image on the left and the sorted image on the right. Okay, so I've got part one. Now, here's the thing. What I want now is another image called sorted. And I want to create a blank image equals create image. And I want it to be the same width and height. And I want it to be an RGB image as the image. So this in Processing is how I load an image from the file. Here's how I create a blank image. So now, and let's just do something really quickly. Now, all images, oh, look at this. There's a weird bar here. I don't know. That's a glitch with my camera. I'm just going to have to live with it. But all images, the pixels, we think of them as organized on a grid. Like here's pixel like 0, 1, 2, comma 0, 1. That's pixel 2, comma 1. The computer stores all the pixels in a linear list. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So to the computer, this is actually pixel index 7, which is actually the 8th pixel because I started counting from 0. So, and in Processing, I can look at all of the pixels of an image, that array, by saying the image dot pixels itself. So I'm going to come over here. I also need to do something like, say, sorted.load pixels. This is kind of like a little announcement, like, hey, I'm going to look at the pixels now. And I'm going to say I'm going to write a for loop. I equals 0. I is less than sorted.pixels.length. I plus plus. And I'm going to say sorted dot pixels index I equals a color random 255. So processing has a function called color, and if you give it a single number, it'll make a nice grayscale color, and it'll put in that pixel, in that image. And then I could say sorted.update pixels. I'm not doing the sorting yet. I'm just showing you how this works. So now, if in the draw function, I say I draw the image and I draw both the original image and this quote-unquote sorted image, which is now just random colors, I should see this. So we can see I have an image that's loaded from a file and an image with pixels that I made up. So now what I need to do is take all of these pixels and put them in this one sorted. So actually, something that I could do right here is I could say image.pixels index I, and I could say image.load pixels. So now this is me manually, one at a time, copying every pixel from image into sorted. Here we go. Ta-da, 2 sunflowers. By the way, I love sunflowers. Do you love sunflowers? Tell me about your favorite flower in the comments. And then you could write, oh, cringe, cringe. This seems to be the thing that people write whenever I talk about flowers or kittens or puppies or rainbows or whatever. But you know, these things are nice things. Can we have nice things, please? Okay, so now I need time. By the way, I'm like stressed out here and procrastinating. I got to get to the sorting. So here's the thing. Most programming environments will come with some kind of function to sort an array. And Java is no exception. Even processing is no exception. It has a sort function. But the thing is, I need to do something kind of custom here because this array is like this crazy array of colors. And I want to like organize it. They're arbitrary numbers. A color is an R, a G, and a B value, and an alpha value sometimes. So how I'm going to sort it, I've got to write the sorting algorithm manually. Sorting algorithms are the domain of people's PhD dissertations and lifetimes of study. There's something called a bubble sort. There's something called a selection sort. There's even something called a quick sort. And I probably, for what I'm going to do, could make great use out of a super fancy, efficient, fast sorting algorithm. There's a great write-up, I believe, by Mike Bostock, the creator of D3, about sorting algorithms and how they work. I'll link to that in this video's description. But for what I'm going to do right here, just to make things simple, I'm going to implement a selection sort. And so I think the way that I can do this, right, I have 2 arrays. Ooh, you can't see all of that. I'm cut off, but that's fine. This is my first array. I'm going to look through the entire array for the brightest pixel. When I find the brightest pixel, I am going to put that over here. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to have to, you know what I need to do? I actually need to copy the whole image because I need to rearrange the pixels while I'm sorting, but I don't want to mess with the original pixels of the image. So I'm going to copy the whole image. And let's talk about the selection sort again. I realize I need to do this in a different way than I had previously imagined. I'm going to look at all the pixels of the image, find the brightest one. Let's say this is the brightest one. I'm going to take this and put it in the first spot and take that first spot and put it there. That's called a swap. Then I can start from here and now look for the brightest one and take that one and put it in the second spot. Then I can start from here and look for the brightest one. So I'm kind of looping through the entire array to find the brightest one to put it in the first part. Then I'm starting at the second, the third, the fourth. So I'm always getting a smaller section of the array because the beginning, and that will grow, is the sort of sorted part. So let's see if I can do that. And one thing I can do so this is a way that I copied all of the pixels. Just in case you're wondering, I could actually, I believe, say sorted equals image.get. So that's get is a function in processing that just gets a copy of the image. Let's see if that works. Great, so that's a little easier than copying the pixels manually, just so you see that's there. And now what I need to do is I need a selection sort. So let's think about how I'm going to do this again. I'm going to say for, and I do need sorted.load pixels. I'm going to say for int I equals 0, I is less than sorted.pixels.length, I plus plus. Okay? So this is looking at every single pixel. But for every single pixel, I need to look at all the pixels that come after it. So I need to say for int j equals starting at I. J is less than sorted.pixels.length, J++. Okay, right? Because I want to start, again, if I come back to that diagram, I want to start at 0 and look through all the pixels. Then I want to go to 1 and look through all the pixels. Then I want to go to 2 and look through all the pixels. Okay? So that's what this nested loop is doing. So the first thing I need to do is let me sort by brightness. So I'm going to say B equals the brightness. Let's get a color, pix, equals sorted index j, sorted.pixels index j. That is the color at that particular pixel. The brightness of that color, I could compute it, but processing has these nice functions it's just the average of the RGB values. So I'm going to get that brightness. Now what do I need? I need to find the record brightness of any pixel for each time I do this. So I'm going to create a variable called record, and I'm going to set it to -1, right? Because no pixel can have a brightness less than -1, less than 0. So I want to say, and then I want to, I'm going to say brightest index. You know what I'm going to do? Because I might change the algorithm. I'm going to say selected pixel equals I. Because I can start, by default, I'm going to start with the first one. Selected pixel equals I. So what I want to do now and say, if brightness is greater than the record, then that's the selected pixel is now J, and the record is now that brightness. So this is like looking at every pixel from J to the end and seeing if its brightness beats whatever previous brightest one I found, storing it as a selected, and storing a record. So now, once I finish this loop, now what I do is swap selected pixel with I. So I need to take whatever was selected as the brightest and put it in the I spot, and then whatever's in the I spot, stick it back somewhere else. So how do I do this? Basically what I want to say is sorted.pixels index selected pixel equals sorted.pixels index I, and then sorted.pixels index I equals sorted.pixels index selected. So this won't work, by the way. This is a problem. So, but this is like a nice idea, right? I want to take what's in I and put it in selected pixel, and what's in selected pixel and put it in I. Here's the problem, though, and I prefer to write it. I don't know. This is like kind of nonsense, but I need to feel like okay about things in life generally. For some reason, I need I to be first. That's just how I am. I want to take what's in selected pixel and put it in I, and then what's in I and put it in selected pixel. The problem is I just overwrote what was in I, so I've lost it. So what I actually need is something like a temporary variable to store what's in sorted pixels index I, and so that I can put that in temp. That didn't make any sense. Let me say that again. I need to save what's in I because I'm about to overwrite what's in I so that I can grab it again and put it in selected pixel. This is an algorithm for swapping two spots in the array. And then once I'm done, I think this is everything. This should actually work. Now, I have no idea how long this is going to take. This is not a particularly efficient algorithm, and there's this thing called like big O notation that people talk about in like computer science of like how fast is an algorithm. This is like an n squared algorithm because for every pixel I need to check every pixel. So if there were just 10 pixels, I have basically got like 100 checks. But if there's 100 pixels, I've got 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 10,000 checks. So I hope I did that math right. So this is kind of with a 400 by 400 image, there's going to be a lot of pixels to check. So let's run this and see what happens. Oh my goodness. Oh boy, I have to wait here. Hurry up. I hope this is working and I don't have a bug in my code that's making it stuck in an infinite loop. This might have to get edited. I think this will get edited out. It'll be like it's like those cooking shows where they have to like wait for the thing to cook for an hour. How big was that image? So let's run some tests here. Let me copy this and do. Let me make an image called small.jpg. So we need to test this with something. small.jpg, and I'm going to make this adjust size. I'm probably going to I'm going to make this like 50 by 50. That should be totally reasonable. And then what I'm going to do is just draw it with a bigger width and height. What's the chance it finished by now? Still hasn't finished. All right, I'm going to have to stop this. And I don't know if I think this is still good. I'm off out of this challenge now. I'm just figuring something out. I'll come back to it. Let's see if, there we go. Okay, so that happened really fast. Sorted by brightness. So you can see that worked. I mean, it's a little bit weird to look. I want to sort it by hue, I think. But that just took way too long with 400 by 400 pixels. Let's see if I can get it to work with 200. Let's see if I can get it reasonably to work with 100. I'm just going to keep doubling it. It'll take 4 times as long. Adjust size. Oops. Tools, adjust size. So I did it at 50, and now let's try it at 100. That wasn't so terrible. Is it really 100? Let me see. Hold on a sec. Did I do that correctly? No, small.jpg is 100 by 100. Okay. Okay, that worked. Now let me change it to 200. And let's see if that works. Let me try it one more time. A small. It's almost 130. I'm going to have to go soon. Adjust size. 200. Let's try that. Let's see how this does. This should take a little while. There we go. Okay, that's not so bad. So I think 200 by 200 is kind of what I need to do right now. So this works. It just takes a really long time. I'm going to animate it in a second, which we can watch, and then we can let it run for hours and watch it. But that's pretty good. So I'm going to go back into the video now, and I'm just going to, did I really just not, was I impatient? Because it really should just take 4 times as much time each time if I double the size. And that took, how long did that take? 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 7, 1,000, 8, 1,000, 9, 1,000, 10, 1,000, 11, 1,000, 12, 1,000, 13, 1,000, 14, 1,000. So that took 14 seconds. So it should take, it's going to take like a full minute if I make it 400 by 400. But I think 200 by 200 is pretty good. I'm going to just change the size of the actual window back to smaller just to like keep it. So, and I'm gonna change the name of this to I want to keep that original image, and I'm gonna say sunflower.jpg. Put this back. Okay, I'm going back into the video. This will get edited back in. Okay, I'm back. That took a really long time because it takes a really long time. There's 400 times 400 pixels. There's a lot of pixels to sort. This I'm going to have to, I sampled the image down to a 200 by 200 image, which I think it can sort it in Java in about 14 seconds. So I'm going to run that now. And you can see the window's a little bit smaller, but I'll zoom into it. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000. Come on, pixel sort. Come on, do the pixel sort. Cringe. That's what you do while you're watching. And then you complain and type in the comments. Oh, there you go. So you can see this now sorted every pixel horizontally by brightness. Let's see if we can sort it by hue, which I think will be interesting to try. Okay, so instead of looking at the brightness, why don't I look at the hue? So processing has a function called hue, which will give me the hue value of a particular color. So I can actually look at that. And I believe this should take just about the same amount of time. do the pixel sort by hue, do the pixel sort by hue. This could get edited out maybe someday too, and it could just appear. So you can see, look at that, this edited nicely by hue. And so you can see I have all of these sort of like orangey colors at the bottom, yellow colors. We're getting this nice sort of palette. So this is pixel sorting. Now, the thing is, I'm just doing sort of like the raw basic algorithm. You should take this code, find the link and get up and be creative with it. So first of all, you should think about what's another way you could imagine sorting the pixels besides just brightness or hue. Here's another thing. I'm just ordering them horizontally. What if I order them vertically? Or what if I order them spiraling out from the center or coming in from the edges? What types of other strange, what if I only sort part of the image? And you'll see lots of art. If you Google image search pixel sorting art, you'll find a lot of creative examples of this, and I hope you make something and send it to me. But before I go, I want to add one more thing to this. Because it takes so long, I think it would be interesting to watch it animate the sort. So in other words, the sorting happens right here. This is the, so I'm going to save this, and I'm going to save a new version called Pixel Sorting Animation. So what I'm going to do now is the processing has a draw loop, right? It's actually drawing this stuff over and over again. I did all of the sorting and setup, and it was finished. But what I want to actually do is do the sorting in draw. So every single time through draw, what I want to do is sort. But instead of having a loop, draw is already looping. So I is something that can become a global variable. I'm going to call it index, set it equal to 0. I don't need this anymore. I don't need that outer loop anymore. It's going to do one pixel per frame of animation. So the selected pixel is index. J starts at index. And then, and then I swap at index, and then what do? I say index plus plus. And I should also check if index is greater than or equal to sorted.pixels.length. I don't want I can't spell length. How do you spell length? Oh my God. If it's greater than length minus 1, I could, as long as it's less than length minus 1, I can increase it by 1. Okay? So now let's run this. You can see it's very, very slowly. You can see it kind of sorting up there, right? I'm zooming all the way in. It's happening very, very slowly, sorting by hue. Now, again, this is such a tiny resolution image that we're barely seeing it. So now I can actually, let me go with the larger image. I'm going to change this to 800 by 400. I'm going to load Sunflower 400, a higher resolution Sunflower. And I'm going to, I just need to change where I'm drawing it at 400,0. So now we can run this, and I can sort of see here. There it is. You can see it sorting the pixels. Now here's the thing. I'm doing one pixel at a time per frame. I think it would be much nicer if I at least did a bunch. So I'm going to actually just write a little loop inside of draw to say, hey, whatever I was just doing, do that I don't know, 100 times. 100 times is not that many. There's a lot of pixels. So, so I'm going to put that so I'm only doing now I'm doing 100 pixels at a time. And let's see what that looks like. Is it going any faster? Let's try 1,000 pixels at a time. Ooh, 1,000 pixels is actually quite slow per frame. So I think I've kind of lost. One thing I want to look at is what the frame rate is. So I want this to run. I want to do the most amount as I can, the most amount of pixels I can, but still be running at 30 frames per second, which I'm clearly not. So let's do it at 100. And we can see, whoa, why is this so slow? You know what's the load? Oh, you know what might be the problem? No. Anyway, I need to, I'm gonna update this. It's very CPU heavy and it's just very slow. I think there could be some more creative ways I could think about animating this. We could let this run for a little while and see how far it gets. But for example, so this is now animating at 30 frames per second, which is quite nice. I'm doing 10 pixels at a time. And it's doing 30 frames per second, so that's 300 pixels per second. Still going to take a very long time to finish the whole thing. But there might be some other creative ways. Like this might actually look more interesting if I didn't draw the original image and you just saw the pixels getting filled in, the ones that have actually been swapped, or I might, like if I was doing it out from the center. So I'm sure you will come up with some creative riffs off of this. Please share them with me in the comments, share them with Twitter, share them with me on Twitter @Schiffman. I hope you enjoyed this coding challenge in processing about pixel sorting. You could do this at very high resolutions. It'll take a long time to render, but then you can export it out as an image or something and make a big print. And let me know if you make something, and I'll see you again in a future video. Goodbye. Okay, so I'm going to let this run for a little while longer just because I'm kind of curious, but I think I am finished for today. It is 1:30 p.m. This live stream has gone out for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I can see maybe if I have time for a couple questions. It's not actually sorting. Is it not sorting? Look at that. It doesn't look like it's working. What did I mess up? It's doing something kind of interesting. Weird. I might have to come back and do an addendum. What did I mess up here? Does anybody see? J equals I plus 1. Where's that? Oh. Oh. Because if I put it in the index, no, because it'll start at the next one the next time around, right? What did I miss? You're just swapping the pixels, right? But I should look through. Okay, let's think about this. I should look through the entire thing. Start at J. Get the hue. If it's greater than the record, that's selected, and that's a new record. I should do that. Oh, the swap is in the wrong place. I messed that up. I got to come back to that video. Right? The swap is totally in the wrong place, which is also why it made it really, really slow. Okay. I don't know if I should re-record the whole thing. I think I'll just come back as an addendum. I'm trying to think. I don't know how this can get edited back together as a coding challenge. Let me think. Why are people talking about dabbing in the chat? That's pretty funny. All right, I'm going to make an addendum. But it does give a kind of interesting result, actually. And it is running now at 60 frames per second because it's getting closer to the end. So it's like much, much faster as it gets further along. Hey, guess what, everybody? I'm back. Look at this. That doesn't look right. I'm getting this interesting, strange smear, but it's not actually sorting. The reason why it's not actually sorting is I didn't notice when I move stuff around to animate it, look where the swap is happening. The swap is happening inside this J loop. I want to look through all the pixels, find the brightest or the ones with the highest hue, and at the end of that, swap it. So I just had a typo, essentially, where this closing bracket is in the wrong place. I need to close that J loop here, and now it should actually sort by hue. Okay, so now we should see something more correct. So I had that mistake, and you can see now that the sorting is actually happening correctly. Now what I'm wondering is if having the swap inside was somehow making it also run slower, and if I could actually manage to have it run faster. It's still pretty slow. It will slowly gain speed over time, because as it gets further along, oh, you can't actually see my frame rate, I just noticed. As it gets further along, as it gets further along, this is the frame rate here, as it gets further along, it has fewer pixels to check because it's getting further and further into the image, and you should see that frame rate go up and up and up and up and up. But you can see now that the sorting is actually now happening correctly, and it actually is sorting by hue. Again, by hue is not necessarily the, is that necessarily the most, there are lots of, I think this is a challenge to you, is like I just picked hue and I just picked brightness as arbitrary numeric indicators of a pixel's value as a single number. But you might think about other ways of thinking about how could you order those pixels. And so I'm going to let this run for a while, and hope you enjoy it. And also, you could pick a different image than the sunflower. You can mess around with how you're sorting it. I'm sure you'll come up with something creative, and I'll see you in a future video. I think this might really be the end. Goodbye. Okay. So I'm going to let this run. You can see all the green colors are at the top, and hopefully it should get much faster eventually. You could do this in like a shader or something, it would probably be much faster. Okay, oh my goodness, it's almost 2 o'clock. About 2 o'clock I'm going to be late for the next thing, and I've got to upload these files and figure out where to go. I'm just curious, how many people are watching this right now? Oh my God, there are still 1,800 people watching, which is nuts. So if any of you want to try to ask a couple questions in the chat, I can see if I can answer just 1 or 2 questions before I go. And I know this is sort of impossible to do. Because I want to sort of let this run, see it get to the end. And I'm looking at the chat now, and I'll answer a couple questions, and then I'm going to be gone. So this full archive will be uploaded to will be available on YouTube soon. Later today or sometime tomorrow. I also will release the individual videos. The Asteroids coding challenge will get released as 2 separate videos edited, and then also this pixel sorting video will get released as a video as well. So there'll be standalone video tutorials that will get released sometime in the next week. I will be back next week for another live stream. I don't know when yet. Oh, and I'm doing something exciting. Let me mention this. So I teach at a program. It's called ITP. It is at New York University. Here is the ITP website. I can't see what I'm doing right now because I moved my preview here. So come on, ITP website. I said I was going to answer questions, and I can't see them right now. So ITP has a show, events. Let me do itp.nyu, itp.nyu.edu/show. I believe this will get me there. So this is the winter show. These are the faces of many lovely ITP students. Look, there's me. With like less gray hair somehow, even though that picture was recent. So the winter show is this Sunday and Monday, December 18th and 19th in New York City. It is open to the public. If you live in the New York area and come by, I'll be there, say hi. But what I'm hoping to do is make a video of projects on Monday, edit it together, and post it to the YouTube channel. So if you're interested about what students are making with processing, P5, Python, open frameworks, C++, Arduino, their minds, the technology actually, here's the thing, I just did the worst thing ever, because the ITP show is not about what the technology the students are using. It's about the people and the ideas. So I'm hoping to make a video about different projects, and I'll release that sometime next week so you can get a sense of things that are happening here in New York at ITP. I'm going to look, sorry, I'm having trouble seeing the chat. Okay, so people are writing nice things. So will I do ray casting? That sounds really hard. I don't know. Will I go on a tour? If I could do that, I definitely would. Should we come on Sunday or Monday? Sunday's typically a little bit less crowded than Monday. Can I make a flight simulator? That is an excellent idea. How did I get into programming? Actually, I was a student at ITP. In 2001 is when I started, and I kind of got into programming at ITP. I didn't start working with processing until 2003 when J.T. Nimoy introduced processing in a workshop at ITP, and also Amit Pataru taught a class at ITP. And show the flower. Oh yeah, show the flower. Yes, let's take a look at it. We can't, oh look at this, it sorted it. So you can see, that's quite lovely actually. It almost looks like a Rothko painting or like a landscape. It's quite nice actually. I'm new to this channel. What is this channel all about? So this channel is about coding. It is about having fun with coding, making creative ideas, expressing yourself through coding. In my sort of small world, I happen to work on open source projects called Processing and P5.js. So those are the platforms I typically use. If coding is totally new to you and you want to learn more about it, you can look for, when you go to the channel's home page, you can look for, this is the beginner playlist for starting learning JavaScript and P5 from scratch. And this is the beginner playlist for learning processing from scratch. So both environments are great for different reasons. And a lot of these coding challenges are where people have kind of glommed onto recently. I'm getting a lot of views on them. But these really they might be interesting to watch, hopefully, but I'm going to assume a lot of knowledge in those. So I have like 400 or 500 videos online. I have some Connect tutorials, other things too. You said you'll show the Asteroid games and modifications, but when and where do we submit them? This is a great question. I'm not used to having this large of an audience. I'm not saying that this is that large of an audience, but for me, it's like 10 to 20 times larger than it usually is. So typically, what I ask people to do is just tweet me a link to what you made at Schiffman on Twitter. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make the Asteroids game its own GitHub repository. And that way, if people want to fork it and create a version of it, you can kind of, again, you have to, amusingly, if you don't know about GitHub, you can watch these videos. But that's one way you could share it with me. I also have a Slack channel for patrons. I think I might see if I can do, I don't know, I need to think about this because I don't love the idea of having like a closed thing, but right now the way that I started trying to get a little funding for the channel, and now there is a with a larger amount of views, it's a little I could be more flexible about this, but I have a Slack channel where I also answer questions and discuss code with a group of people who answer questions in much better ways than I do, and that you can join by going to patreon.com/codingrainbow. Again, that's the old name of the channel. It's going to change at some point soon. So here you can become a patron, and that by becoming a patron, that gives you access to the Slack channel. But I'll think about if maybe it makes sense to think about it in a different way for people to submit and ask questions beyond that as well. Okay, so it is 1:45. Okay, I'm looking at the chat to see if there's anything else that I can actually answer. What is the difference between Java and JavaScript? Great question. They sound like they might be the same. Not the same at all. Java is a programming language, an environment that was developed in the 80s. Java, it's like funny, it's like 2.5 hours into this, I'm like, I'll answer that question, and then my brain is like melting and seeping out of my ear. Java Wikipedia. Let's look at the Java Wikipedia page. This is like, answer a question. I will just read it. I was curious when Java was originally history. Initiated in 1991. So I don't know why I said the 80s. So Java as a project started many, many years ago. One of its innovations was being cross-platform. So Java doesn't actually can turn into like computer code directly. You have to run something on your computer called a Java virtual machine. And so you could write the same code that could run on Windows or Mac or Linux. But in the context that I use it, processing, the environment that I did the pixel sorting, is built on top of Java. And so Java is great for like desktop application development, and it runs very fast. It's tons of libraries for processing, ways to extend it. JavaScript is a more informal language, and it's kind of a ubiquitous language these days. But the reason why I use it is it's also the language of a web browser. So for things that I just want to run on my computer locally, and maybe for an installation or a full screen application, I'm generally using processing. If I want to have something run in a web browser, I'm going to write that code in JavaScript because a browser can read and interpret JavaScript on the fly and animate and do stuff. And so P5 is a JavaScript library. So I write the code in JavaScript using the P5 library. Processing is a Java library. I write the code in Java using the processing library. Processing is also a development environment. P5 does have a development environment, but as you saw, I'm just using like a regular old text editor. That was kind of an inadequate answer to that question, but was sort of the best I can do after having like coded live on the internet on YouTube for 2.5 hours. There was something else I wanted to say about JavaScript. I think JavaScript, by the way, was called JavaScript because at the time Java was like a super cool language. So to sound a little bit like that. A star would be a great Yeah, JavaScript can be used with Node.js for desktop or server-side development, and I use that in a lot of my challenges and tutorials. Paper.js is also a great framework for JavaScript. People are asking about a two-player game. I will, at some point, try to do Conway's Game of Life. I do have a Game of Life video already. I don't think I program it from scratch, but I go through it and show the code. So if you just search on YouTube, Schiffman Game of Life, you'll probably find it. P5 is not that different than vanilla JavaScript. It's got just a layer on it for doing the sort of canvas drawing in a simpler way that's similar to the processing syntax and API. And then there's also a DOM library and a sound library. By the way, I should, if you add sounds to that, anyway, there's lots of stuff you could do. I stream once a week. I do plan on doing some machine learning tutorials. Suraj is gonna make a machine learning tutorial with the Asteroids game on his channel. Okay, so I've got to go now. This has been 2 hours and 34 minutes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'm gonna just turn some things off here. I appreciate the support. I appreciate all the feedbacks, the comments. The good ones, the bad ones, the constructive ones. All your comments are welcome and appreciated. And I hope to see you next week in another live stream. I hope that you'll check out the edited videos that get published, subscribe and like and all that sort of stuff. Tweet at me if you have feedback or ideas at Schiffman. And I am going to go. Okay, so here I am. I have to turn this off now. I don't want to say goodbye. This was a lot of fun for me. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I hope maybe you expanded your mind. I hope it made you feel relaxed and happy. But I also hope, in addition to programming, you go outside, you enjoy people, you do something nice for somebody, and do something nice for the world. And don't think about code as just technology and writing code that you do by yourself. Think about it as something that you make stuff for other people to help the world and do some good. And share that with me, and I'll be thrilled and excited and happy about it. Okay? So by the way, if you want to get announcements about my live stream schedule, I guess I will mention that because people are asking in the chat. I do send out also email alerts. You can sign up here. And at some point I'll try to establish a regular schedule, but for now it won't be next Monday or Tuesday because of the ITP show. So the next live stream will be Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday next week, right before the holidays. Okay? The holidays, at least here in this country. We have a winter break and all that sort of thing. Okay, see you. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And I do tweet also always when I stream and try to keep people updated, okay? See you soon, goodbye. Oh, I'll play you out with the intro video. Yeah, do you want to? I don't know if you want to. I'll just say goodbye. No, I'll play, you can turn it off. So, okay, I'm gonna play my intro video. Okay, I'll answer one more question. If you're looking for the processing, where you find the processing functions, and this is the processing website, and things like hue are here in the reference. So these were all the color functions I was using are here in the reference, and they're processing to /reference. And for P5JS, same thing, under reference, you can see there's a lot of the same functions, hue, there it is there. So all these functions are listed in the reference. Okay, see you soon. Show the flower. The flower was done. There it is. Oh, the song's over. Goodbye.
Did you think that learning coding would be really rough? Throw your hands up in the air and say enough's enough. Do you want to learn to code and make some awesome stuff? Learn that anyone can when you're coding with Dan on. Whether you're a pro or this is all brand new, learn the overarching concepts and some fun stuff too. And with Dan as your guide, come along for the ride on. Make a crazy pixel mirror to reflect your face. You can make it jump to light speed into outer space. You can generate